Suppose the US government actually did its job and made college affordable. In one fell swoop, student loans are no longer predatory, the number of classes, student services, and majors have downsized, and the money put into college is not wasted on $5,000 smartboards and LinkedIn learning subscriptions. Even in this fantasy land, colleges can't be what they once were, so politicians have to make a difficult choice. Should the majority of four-year universities in the United States transition to specialized colleges that prioritize high-paying majors and job skills, or liberal arts colleges that value student exploration and self-discovery? Hi everyone, and welcome to the Tankard. In this video, I'll argue why the liberal arts pathway is the better option. But before we do that, we should review the vision behind both options to best understand each position. For clarity and simplicity's sake, I will only discuss four-year colleges that offer bachelor's degrees, and will refrain from explaining the differences in curriculum based on location. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what does a liberal arts college look like, and how would it benefit students? Most students don't know who they want to be or what they want to do when they start college. A liberal arts college's priority is to help students answer these questions by putting them in charge of their education. Students will be challenged as people and become better critical thinkers. They'll go through the stress of discovering new ideas, meeting people from diverse backgrounds, and making their own decisions. By creating an enclosed ecosystem where the student experience is the priority, students will grow exponentially. We obviously don't know what a student will become after college, but a liberal arts college will break the stranglehold the K-12 education system has on students today. Developing students who are mentally mature, self-determined, and empathetic is much more important than throwing them into tech jobs because they pay well. In short, a liberal arts college will bring college back to what it once was, an academic playground where students can learn what they want and use the environment to better know themselves. On the other hand, a specialized college answers the average student's number one problem after graduating college: finding a high-paying job. Specialized colleges will have fewer majors and courses, but the courses remaining will teach relevant workforce skills. Learning these skills early on will allow students to explore their major beyond the simple theory and busy work. Expect every college to have strong workforce connections that offer internships, certificates, and even shape the curriculum. Professors will be required to work in their field of study to ensure that what's taught is relevant to the real world. You'll have fewer choices at a specialized college, but you'll graduate with an education that is relevant, specific, and skill-oriented. Even with these benefits, I still believe the liberal arts model is better, and here's why. To start, for the first time in their lives, students will be in charge of their education.
I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
Let's face it, we go through the entire K-12 system not learning a damn thing aside from how to memorize facts to make our teachers and parents happy. High schools do offer some elective courses, but it's hard to focus on electives when all you think about is getting out of there. A liberal arts college will be the first place where a student is in total control of their education, a feeling that students desperately crave. Since college no longer costs an arm and a leg in this hypothetical, everything is free reign. Double major? Go for it. Dive headfirst into research? Why not? Never even declare a major and take what you want? Sure, interdisciplinary degrees exist. The priority of the liberal arts model is to show students what exists and to give them the tools to find it. This can even be improved by surveying students and finding out what they want to take, or offering alternative education pathways that fit individual needs. Steve Jobs' stint at Reed College is a perfect example of this. Even though his interests were elsewhere, Jobs went to college like many young adults to please his parents. Since Jobs didn't have the money, he decided to drop out in his first semester. But right after doing so, he somehow managed to convince the dean to let him audit classes, so he basically got to sit in on lectures for free. Once Jobs sat in on a calligraphy course, he realized the importance of fonts and how they could shape the user experience for a product, something that would definitely come in handy once he founded Apple with Steve Wozniak in 1976. I always thought myself as a humanities person as a kid, but I liked electronics, Jobs said. This type of thinking, an intersection between different fields of study, is exactly what liberal arts colleges strive for. Students benefit from learning a little bit about a lot, sometimes in ways that may not be obvious. Different fields of study have different assumptions and key ideas. Think of economics as an example. If a student only takes economics classes, they would likely have a much more distrustful view of government and believe people are more rational when making decisions. But if the same student also took sociology, political science, and philosophy courses, They would likely have a much more well-rounded view of the subject. Not to mention, taking classes from multiple disciplines is a great way to foster creativity. The best way I can explain why this matters is that when people start experimenting with their various interests, they just seem to come together in a way that screams authenticity and self-love. Frank Herbert combined journalism and ecology to write Dune. Conan O'Brien's history and lit degree from Harvard and his love for comedy landed him The Tonight Show. Actor J.K. Simmons was a classically trained musician before demanding pictures of Spider-Man. The point is, we don't know how people will tie things together, which is why we should sit back and let people cook. We need more creative minds like this because the problems the world is facing have gotten so large that a single field of study can't solve them. Climate change can be seen in a scientific, political, and economic lens, to name a few, and these perspectives need to be included when making decisions. When the next generation of students has to make these hard decisions, I'd prefer a group that understands the flaws and biases in their reasoning over single subject specialists that see everything in one light. Specialized colleges instruct and teach skills. A liberal arts college breaks down the fundamentals, asks why, and lets students answer it themselves. Think of it like a story. Anyone could read the pages and understand the plot, but the meaning behind it combines personal experience and the author's intent. Even in STEM subjects where answers are very black and white, liberal arts colleges will show students the gray areas and explain how even the most fundamental assumptions fall apart in the right conditions. The only way to learn how your experiences differ from others is to listen, which is pretty easy to do when you're surrounded by people from different cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds. But different subject matter and people are only two ways students will have their viewpoints challenged. I can't fully get this point across without discussing liberal arts college's history with political activism. And this relationship isn't surprising given what we've talked about so far. Students come into college not knowing what they want to do. They encounter people from various perspectives and interact with ideas that they haven't seen before, and a lot of them are rightfully pissed at the state of the world. Now put all these people in one place, and it's no wonder why liberal arts colleges have been a hotspot for political activism and free expression. With all the examples I can use for this point, let's go with W.E.B. Du Bois, an African-American civil rights leader who grew up in a very similar United States to Booker T. Washington, who I mentioned in the last video. When Du Bois was born in 1868, African Americans were no longer slaves in the United States, but they were far from free. To put it bluntly, they were seen as second-class citizens at best, or subhuman at worst. W.E.B. Du Bois, the first African American to get a PhD from Harvard, and co-founder of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, otherwise known as the NAACP, believed that a liberal arts education was the key to helping African Americans advocate for a better social standing. The ethical development, critical thinking, and personal growth students would learn at a liberal arts institution, combined with their social activism, would create a powerful social elite ready to challenge the status quo. Objection! Now that we've argued why the liberal arts college model is better, let's give the specialized side a chance to respond. Claiming that a liberal arts model will be the first place where students will be in an environment where they can find their calling is like saying real communism hasn't been tried yet. How many educators believe that they can be the ones to help students critically think for the first time? English professors think it's possible with the right books and grading techniques. Steve Jobs believed he can do it by introducing iMacs into classrooms. But even if a select few students go through, find their authentic path, and make a great name for themselves, how many students are now stuck in the fine arts or social work or any other major where the only way to make money is to teach because they were told it was best for their development? A specialized college would provide more job skills, relevant workforce training, and a focus on high-paying majors. Students who grew up poor will at least learn the skills necessary to escape their circumstances. Imagine telling someone from a broken home that the solution to their money problems is to self-discover some more and take some classes that'll help them better understand their plight. Now let's hear the rebuttal. What specialized colleges fail to understand is that you can have your cake and eat it too.
Life is pain!
With the liberal arts model, students will use their time at college to learn more about themselves and leave knowing they can succeed in their careers. The difference, of course, is that the student chooses what to sacrifice. We don't sit here and tell students what majors are useless, or that if they chased a high-paying career, they'd be better for it. Pursuing money isn't the only thing that matters when deciding how to contribute to the world. Sometimes a student simply wants to settle in a safe government job where they can paint in their spare time. I find it ironic that capitalism gives people options to pursue their interests, Yet once it feels threatened, everyone has to conform. And speaking of feeling threatened, this whole idea of making income inequality worse is just fear-mongering. Studies have shown for years that people with a college degree will out-earn those who don't. Of course, if we want to compare apples to oranges and say someone with a drama degree will earn less than an engineer, then no shit. But given basic economics, if everyone started to learn high-paying majors tomorrow, wouldn't those careers start to be over-impacted and increase unemployment? That's what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket. The liberal arts college model gives students the means to pursue their interests without sacrificing their sense of self. While some students may make wrong decisions based on society's expectations, who cares? Developing a society of creative, empathetic, and authentic people through education is much more valuable than continuing the cycle of pumping out more drones into the corporate rat race. Thank you all for listening. What argument resonated with you the most? How would you strengthen the side you disagree with? What things did I fail to mention on either side? Please let me know in the comments below. I will see you in the next one.